It's over 9,000!
Welcome to the intergalactic spectacle known as the Outer Space Freak Show. I'm your host and captain of the ship, Bill Springer, and I'm here with Vince Barry, the Vin Man.
The Spock.
The master of the galaxy.
We got Kirk, we got Spock.
Vince actually conquered a galaxy before coming here, man. He wiped out an entire race of people, entire planet of people, and animals. The only thing he kept was one flower. He gave it to his mom, because he's nice like that.
Yes.
Anyways,
My
I wanted to bring...
lucky.
Yeah, your mom's awesome. And your dad, too. I just wanted to first bring up, I called the Casey Anthony verdict.
Yes,
I called
he did.
the not guilty verdict.
He's one of very few people that actually called it.
I think there's a lot of people out there who also called it, but I called it publicly on episode 2 of the Outer Space Freak Show. I'm actually going to play that clip right now. It doesn't look good for her. I don't think she's going to get the murder 1 charge. She may get a murder charge for neglect or something along those lines. Well, I don't think she's...
Which on its own is bad.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to serve jail time, but I don't think she's going to get the death penalty. I don't think she's going to get the murder 1 charge. She's going to get charged for something, definitely. She will be in jail for a very good portion of her life. Alright, we're back, and I just wanted to say, I called it. You seen it. And she's getting out on July 17th. That is a Sunday, which just so happens to be the same day that Season 4 of Breaking Bad starts on AMC. I'm a huge fan of that show. I just recently got into it, watched all the episodes in like the span of 2 days. That show is addictive, man.
I wouldn't know quite yet.
I know. Well, you should check out at least episode 1 to see if it's down your alley. It's more of a drama.
A dramedy or a drama?
No, it's there is some comedy elements of it. I like that word, dramedy.
That's actually a word that they use a lot.
Oh, I thought I made that up.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, apparently captains of outer space ships can think up of words like dramedy.
Yeah. What did I want to say? She got found not guilty on 3 counts, I believe, which were the main counts, like the murder charge, child abuse charge, and I forget the other charge.
Let's see, we have first-degree murder, aggravated manslaughter, and aggravated child abuse.
And then she was found guilty on 4 charges of lying to the police.
They were only misdemeanors, not quite as big as the felonies.
And I believe it was a total of a 4-year sentence, which they gave her the maximum. But due to the time that she's already served, I believe it was like 3 years and a few months or something along those lines.
She also had good behavior going on as well.
Yeah, she had good behavior. So originally it was calculated that she was going to get out Wednesday, but they recalculated and found out that it'd be July 17th on Sunday. So, and I don't know what the hell she's going to do, because there's a lot of people out there that just want that bitch dead. You know, and there's a lot of people out there that have been holding up signs saying, "I'm single, Casey," you know. So
look at this guy right over here. He probably wishes she was single.
She's got some places that she could go where she could be somewhat safe. There are some, like Anthony Cumia from the Opie and Anthony show said he'll pay for her ticket to fly all the way to New York to come to the compound, have a party. I don't know how long he'd let her stay there, because Anthony's into the younger chicks. But anyways, they're saying that she was thinking about already having more children when she gets out.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Something about she wrote a letter to an inmate in jail saying that she was thinking about adopting or something along those lines, saying that she could give a child a good life or something like that. And
let's see, make sure that no circumstance happens where it looks like anyone killed them. Let's hope that this one stays alive.
From what I understand, she's not out of the frying pan yet. She's going to be going into court again shortly after she gets released for a civil suit with Zenaida Gonzalez, the lady that she used the name for when she made up the nanny. The name was real, but the nanny that she was speaking of wasn't. So, in the real Zenaida Gonzalez is saying that she lost her job because of Casey Anthony. She was interrogated by police. She had to relocate her family. And
very understandable.
She's suing her for probably a truckload of money. Her lawyer was on, I believe it was either HLN or Headline News or True TV, and he was saying that they originally didn't want any money. They just brought up the civil suit just to clear up her name. Zenaida Gonzalez wanted to clear up her name, but now they're talking money. Now they're trying to make it so if Casey Anthony does make any money, like perhaps if she writes a book or signs the rights over to Lifetime Network and they make a movie out of it, that all the, like a portion of the money, probably a great portion of the money, would go to Zenaida Gonzalez. I'm thinking that if Casey Anthony wants to win this case, rehire Jose Baez. That guy is a miracle worker. Jesus criminy crackers, Batman. If I ever get in trouble in Florida, I'm calling that guy up. Ring, ring.
He's probably making a lot of money right now.
Oh yeah,
He's
yeah.
probably
yeah.
got a bunch of cases already pending because of
that guy's a real character. He's a real character.
He did his job.
From what I hear, Jerry Springer may or may not have offered Casey Anthony $1 million to appear on his show. It was later retracted that they never said that, but Jerry Springer said if she calls, he'll answer.
That would make for great TV.
Yeah, what were you saying about she'd be a better fit on what show?
On the Steve Wilkos show.
Isn't Steve a lot? Isn't Steve a big hard ass on people?
He is. Let's see. There's no fighting a lot on the show and all that, and Steve will rip into her, make her feel even worse than she already does about the whole thing. And who knows? Maybe she'll get a lie detector test on that show.
Oh, and I'll also make another prediction here. Everybody's thinking in the civil suit that Zenaida Gonzalez has brought up against Casey Anthony that Casey Anthony is going to come out with all this information that she has to testify. No, she doesn't. It's called the Fifth Amendment. You can plead the Fifth. You don't have to say shit. You don't have to say
it's like the reverse of the first.
Damn thing.
It's the reverse of the First Amendment.
You have the right to keep your mouth the fuck shut, and you know what? That is exactly what she's going to do. You will see another case with Casey Anthony saying not a goddamn word. But you know what? She ain't going to be frowning this time around. No, she's going to have a big-ass smile on her face. She is free as fuck. Free as fuck.
Yep. And it's not like she can really go to prison for that. She can get maybe a monetary loss, if anything.
Yeah. So, I want to move on right now. Vinny recently had a tragedy happen at his house. Why don't you give us the play-by-play here when it started with you going to work?
Let's see. One day I went into work. After I got home, I went into my living room, and my fish tank, my aquarium, had broken.
All right, let me stop you there. What was the fish tank sitting on? Give us an idea of what the stand was like.
It was sitting on a wooden stand. I think it was kind of like a book stand, but it was a little like it had enough like where you could probably actually put a TV on it. It was like a wooden TV stand, which in retrospect was probably not the smartest choice of a stand for a 20-gallon fish tank.
How much do you think that what that weighs filled up completely?
I honestly have no idea, but I know I couldn't move it without taking water out of it.
Yeah, 20 gallons. I don't know. Do the math. You got calculators. We're not here to do mathematics for you.
Yep, we're not math professors.
We did manage to build this wacky spaceship floating out in space, but
no, we hired a bunch of aliens.
We're not calculator. Yeah, don't tell them that.
Oh, come on.
Take all the credit for it.
That's because we enjoy taking credit where credit is motherfucking due.
So you get home and explain the nightmare you walked into.
Let's see. The tank is broken. Basically, the stand it was on cracked because it was made of wood, obviously, and The whole tank was broken.
Like what crack? The leg of it or the side of it?
Like
or?
the side of it cracked.
So it's split down the middle?
Not down the middle, but on one side. It pretty much like, and what happened was like, I'm guessing it fell over, and the glass broke. Nothing in the tank survived.
Alright, let me step in here. Vince, my buddy, named a fish after me. It was specifically a clown loach.
Yes, clown loaches are fucking awesome. I recommend you have one because they do tricks. They like to swim upside down, they like to look like smartasses, and they really deserve the name clown loach.
Was Nemo from Finding Nemo a clown loach?
He was not a clown loach.
He was a clown fish, right?
Yes, which is a saltwater fish.
What's the difference between a clown loach and a clown fish, besides just the saltwater and freshwater deal?
Let's see, a clown loach is usually a little skinnier than a clownfish, and it's got orange and black instead of orange, white, and black.
But they do have a similar look to them, don't they?
Yes. But yes, like we were saying, clown loaches and clownfish cannot survive together unless it's like in Chesapeake Bay or something like that, an estuary, because... well, basically, it's a freshwater fish. I mean, we all know how that works.
What was I gonna say? What does the loach part of clown loach mean? You ever look that up?
I never did look it up.
Huh. Well, maybe we'll save that for next episode. Probably not, but, you know, you got Google. Google it.
Yep, there is a Wikipedia page for clown loach, I believe.
Well, that isn't the end of the story. Not only did Fishy Me die, but Vince also had another nightmare waiting for him.
Yep. You can guess where that water went. All over my apartment carpet.
Now, Vinny, was anything besides the carpet seriously damaged?
Thankfully, no. Just the tank, the stand it was on, and the carpet. I was very fortunate that none of my electronic devices were there, and fortunately, when the tank snapped, the electrical cords that were plugging in the fish tank were pulled, apparently from the drop.
So, how long did it take for cleanup?
Let's see. I started on the day it was a Thursday that all of this happened. When I got home, I was pretty much like, "What the fuck?" And then from there, anything I had planned for the rest of the day went right down. I did not do it, and first thing I did was borrowed a shop vac, went to sucking some water out and getting all of the gravel and all the glass out of there, throwing it in the garbage. That took me a couple hours.
And that had to be a pain in the ass.
Ran a shitload of fans, to get all the water dried out.
Yeah, didn't you have to rent a bunch of stuff for that, or
I
buy a
ended
bunch
up-
of stuff?
I ended up running a snail fan to help me get some of the carpet drying, and I ended up, after that, unfortunately, when I was vacuuming, I accidentally sucked Bill up into the vacuum, so I was unable to give him a proper burial.
Yeah, whatever. He's disposed somewhere, and eventually he'll make it somewhere.
I think he's still sitting in the garbage dumpster.
Fishy Me is in the dumpster.
Well, let's see, you belong in a dumpster, Bill.
Some days. Some days I feel like Oscar.
After he gets wasted, he ends up in a dumpster in Connecticut. If you know what show I got that reference from, you are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling you, you can find out for yourself.
Yeah, and if you know the answer to that, go to OS Freakshow on Twitter and leave a comment, and you will win a whopping prize of nothing.
Yeah, you'll just get some props from me. Not from Bill, because he hates the show that I'm talking about very much. I'll say what it is.
Alright, so, Vinny, you have one fish left?
Yes, in another tank that I had had before. What had happened in the past is I had 3 fish in that tank that broke.
What were the names of the fish? There was Vinny, there was Belle, and there was...
Danielle.
Danielle.
Yep. Vinny and Danielle are both African cichlids. And Vinny was blue, Danielle was yellow, and Danielle was bigger than Vinny. And, let's see, cichlids are very territorial, so Danielle decided, why don't we attack Vinny? And Danielle killed Vinny. And after it happened, I ended up buying a 10-gallon tank and transferring Danielle over there so she would leave Vinny. Leave Bill alone, actually.
So let me get this straight. Fishy Me and Fishy You are dead.
Yes.
Dad, and Danielle is a freaking cannibal.
Yes. Danielle did survive. Although Danielle did not eat Vinny. Just killed him.
Well, you know what? Next episode, instead of taping here in the command center of the ship, why don't we go to your quarters and tape there so we can show everybody Danielle? What is that? How does that sound to you, buddy?
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all. Change a location. Wouldn't hurt anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to be a little travel every so often. I want to go to Hollywood. I want to walk on that walk of fame, baby.
We could just go there and use our laser beams and just destroy it.
Yeah, and those sharks that I wish I had. Those
sharks with laser beams.
Sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their heads.
And you know what? He got them. Didn't Scott Evil give them to him as a gift?
Yes, in
Trying
Gold
to impress
Member.
his father.
Yep. And then he danced around like he was Vanilla Ice.
I don't know. I'm kind of so-so on Seth Green. He's
Robot motherfucking chicken.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I didn't like Robot Chicken. Seems the first few seasons were all right, but it seems like they're trying way too hard for a laugh, and they're just it's more swings than hits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's some good stuff. I mean, he does voice Chris Griffin.
I really liked him in Idle Hands. That movie was fucking hilarious. Love that movie with Devin Sawa and that fat kid who had his head cut off and held it together, I think, with a pencil.
He was actually in one of the Scooby-Doo movies.
Didn't he play a bad guy?
No, he actually played a museum curator in the second one and potential love interest of Velma.
Yeah.
Linda Cardellini also, very attractive celebrity. Not a lot of people know her, but she's fucking awesome.
I always thought that Velma was a lesbian. I always kind of got that vibe. Like, she, I don't know.
No, she was just really smart. I mean, she always solved every mystery. And Fredo, he always took credit for it, which they elaborated in the first movie.
And then I think Fred always tried to take the credit for it in, a pup named Scooby-Doo. Was that the name of the show?
That was the show where Freddie ended up reading a magazine called the National Exaggerator.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but he always blamed it on a guy who was appropriately named Red Herring.
Alright, I want to bring up two things about marijuana and beer.
Oh, yes. Two of our favorite things in the world. Isn't that right?
Sure. Actually, there's a report that marijuana might make you a better gamer. And there's also another report that says beer might make you a worse gamer.
Yes, I'm going to suck at games because I'm drinking this.
Well, you were playing, what, Legend of Zelda earlier?
Yep, and I was still kicking motherfucking ass. I know where all the secrets are in a lot of Zelda games, actually. I mean, I've been playing those games since, let's see, 1990 motherfucking 2.
And we are proudly sponsored by the Triforce.
Yes.
That's called sponsors.
I think I should get a Triforce tattoo.
You know what? If you get a Triforce tattoo, I'll get a Triforce tattoo. I mean, it's kind of hacky, kind of...
I'll take the Triforce.
Kind of lame.
I can take the Triforce of Wisdom. You can have the Triforce Courage. Oh, wait, do I really want the Wisdom? Because then I'd be fucking Princess Zelda. I'll take the power of Ganondorf.
Yeah. Gotta be badass.
Yep. If you didn't know that those are the three main Triforce holders, then... Wow, you have not played Ocarina of Time.
Alright, it's saying here that 43% of the gamers that played video games while on marijuana performed better at video games than the people that were in the control group. 43% better. So marijuana might actually be useful for video games. And you know what? I think when I'm smoking weed and I'm playing video games, that I do play better. I think I'm more focused.
I remember you kicking my ass in Smash Brothers for the first time ever.
Yeah. And usually Vinny beats my ass in that game, so it was only one time I beat him, so it's not a big deal. But I noticed that in Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, the first Modern Warfare, that I did perform a lot better on marijuana. Racking up like 20, 30 kills, like 15 kill streak. I'm a camper. A lot of y'all probably fucking hate me right now because I said that, but I camp out sitting there.
Yep, and
coming by.
everyone that blow, blow. I remember I used to be like that when I used to play Team Fortress, TFC.
Oh man, you're taking us back.
Yes, I am.
Play those shitty games that suck ass.
Yeah, but you know what? This is back when I was in high school. We had wireless laptops. We had our academic support period, the free period. Everyone would be on the school's network.
Didn't they block that because of that reason?
They can't. There's no way to block that.
And then you were using like a LAN.
We used the landline. It was pretty much like having a LAN party during school. And I used to be one of the campers.
I mean, no. I mean, proxy servers. Didn't you have to use proxy servers
to get on websites, but not to play that game?
Oh, they never.
Because there was a local area network. You went right through the school's network.
Those administrators weren't too bright, were they?
Actually, I have a lot of respect for some of them. But the thing is, there's really no way they could have stopped it as long as there was a network up.
Yeah.
I mean, the wireless connection went throughout the school, and it was not through internet protocols. So, I mean, you can't stop that. You can only stop it from a website. They blocked stuff like AIM or let's see, MySpace and Facebook didn't exist back when I was in high school.
No, wasn't people all using like LiveJournal? That was back.
LiveJournal, yes, LiveJournal was there.
That was back when AIM was like huge.
Yes, they blocked AIM.
They blocked AIM, but people used proxy servers from their own homes.
And I gave out some proxy server addresses to help people out.
Yeah, you know. And wasn't Sherlock, our boy Sherlock, running what was it called? Running the network. Posting all kinds of sweet videos.
He was a resident hacker.
Games. I mean, this was back in the day when bootleg movies really wasn't a big thing. Like, it was before like Kazaa. It was before BitTorrent.
Napster was still around in those days.
Yeah, my buddy Sherlock, he would just sit at home and he would actually like encode DVDs into AV files on his own before people were really doing that, and he would be popping them up, Goonies, right up on this network. You just go to his page, you just go to his shared folder, and he had a ton of cool stuff on there: ROMs, emulators, movies.
Yeah, this is the kind of guy that we used to really enjoy having around. And you know what? He's still an awesome guy. He's just moved on a lot further.
I believe he has a website. I'm gonna post a link to his website on the. On all locations that you can find Outer Space Freakshow.
I know he, at one point, maybe he still does, I know he runs Edge Emulation.
I think he does still. And I think he works for a company that has servers, and I think he controls the servers and does all the encryption and stuff like that to make sure nobody gets in. I mean, he's a real smart dude, my buddy. I'll try to find a couple links to his work just so you can check out what he's doing today. He's doing everything legit.
And if you're watching this, it doesn't matter, damn it.
You know what? I'm going to send him that just because of it. Yeah, Sherlock was the man.
Yeah.
Is the man. I'm sorry for saying was because he's not dead or not the man.
Well, we haven't seen the guy in a long time.
Yeah. He's doing well for himself. I got him up on my friends list and whatnot.
Yep, so do I.
Alright, so I want to move on a little bit. There is a man out there who owns every single PlayStation 2 game. What would you call this person?
I would call him rich and sad at the same time. But I want to stop you right there. We never mentioned the beer part of that last conversation.
Oh, we didn't. I'm sorry, but let me see. It says here that drinking and gaming could cause you to become a much more terrible video game player. It says, today during my lunch break, I was read this article in a magazine claiming that males between the ages 15 and 30 has been drinking less and less amounts, volumes, if you will, of alcohol for the last 10 years. Swedes being very anxious about drug and alcohol intake. This is measured in a huge poll every year. I probably did not read that right. But anyways, it's basically saying that they've been doing testing saying that alcohol does deteriorate your gaming ability.
And I have very first-hand experience with this.
Explain.
Yep. A former roommate of mine, let's just say he drank a lot. Like, first thing in the morning, we'd wake up, all that fun shit.
You can say his nickname, Slimmy Boy.
Yep, Slim. Yep. Let's see, last time I saw you was watching WrestleMania. Let's see. A lot of times we play Mortal Kombat 2 on the Super Nintendo, because I bought a Super Nintendo because, well, that was my very first video game console. We played that game.
Mine was Atari. My parents had already had it, so...
Yep. His parents are very major Atari nerds.
Oh, Galaga was their game. Galaga.
Yep.
They'll spend hours. Well, they like the Galaga arcade tabletop machine better, because they used to be over at Chuck E. Cheese. I would go play, like, the Simpsons arcade game. Or the or the Ninja Turtles arcade game.
Those two games are fucking awesome. Thank you, Konami.
Yeah,
Thank you, Konami.
Or the X-Men arcade game with the 8 players at once. Yeah, that was at a local bowling alley when I was a kid, and I believe it was at the Chuck E. Cheese as well. I could be wrong, but the Chuck E. Cheese used to be the one over by where Kmart used to be. You know what I mean?
Yep. But anyway, when we were playing Mortal Kombat 2. If it was first thing in the morning, we'd be playing, and we'd be evenly matched. I'd win some, he'd win some, and it'd be all great. And if I beat him, he'd be like, good match, you did good. But later on in the day, when he started drinking a lot,
you notice that's the crossroads at every freaking mistake.
Yep. What happened after that is I noticed every time I played, if he was drunk. Let's see, I'd win like 99% of the time, and he'd always accuse me of cheating or get mad because I beat him.
Didn't one of your other roommates get mad about that too?
Yes, I think we actually mentioned that last week on the Outspace Freak Show.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
My roommate when we were playing Mario Kart. When I would save the red shell until the very end of the race, right before the finish line, launch it at her, and go right ahead.
You know what? I can always seem to beat the computer, but when it comes to playing against my buddies, I suck. I just get my ass whooped. Like, I used to be the shit at
That's because AI is a lot
older
easier.
age, I just suck at that game.
That's because artificial intelligence in video games is a lot more easy to conquer than human players. I mean, human players have different habits that they can change around.
Yeah, see, when I first bought my PlayStation 3, the very first game that I bought was Mortal Kombat 2 on the online, on the PlayStation Network, so I kind of stick to old games, you know? I've always been a fan of the Mortal Kombat franchise. I could kick the computer's ass all day, hard mode, extra hard mode,
I will
whatever.
say, though, MK vs. DC Universe, major letdown.
Yeah, I wanted to see a little more brutality, but I can understand that DC is a family-oriented company, Superman being one of the biggest role models in the comic community.
Batman as well.
Yeah, Batman as well. So I can understand why they had to tone down the violence, but was it a smart decision? No. But with that all said, Mortal Kombat vs. DC was a revolutionary game in the Mortal Kombat series, being the first Versus title in the series.
I mean, it goes right along the lines with Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah. I would love to see. Alright, this is the mecca of all fighting games and is yet to be released. May never be released, but I want to see Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter. Two of the biggest fighting platforms colliding. Will it ever happen? Probably not, but should it happen? Definitely.
Yeah, there is no way that Midway and
see, it would probably be a matchup between Liu Kang and Ryu, Shao Kahn and M. Bison, or maybe Akuma, Chun-Li versus Sonya, Vega versus Baraka.
Oh my god, that would be a fucking awesome match. I can see those blades of Baraka ripping right through that mask.
Who else would be a good? Who would be a good match for Scorpion? Do you think?
Scorpion. I'm not. I mean, Ryu and Ken are both ninjas, so maybe one of those two. But
I could see Ken versus Scorpion, and maybe Ryu versus Sub-Zero.
Yeah,
that'd be a good matchup.
Sub-Zero versus anyone is fucking awesome.
It would probably take a lot.
I'll go on record saying Sub-Zero has always been my favorite Mortal Kombat character. And my very favorite Street Fighter character has always been Dalsim. The long-armed guy.
I'd say that my favorite would probably be Baraka. I don't know, he just looks cool. He was always fun to play with, because he He has a lot of range attacks, that like mid-range attacks that you could use. A lot of long-range attacks.
And the blade attack.
And wasn't his jump kick a little more effective than other fighters?
Actually, I figured this out. The most effective jump kick, at least in Mortal Kombat 2, my favorite, of course, would be Shang Tsung's.
Why, is it a little more effective than everyone else's?
It hits more often.
It hits more often?
Statistically, I figured out it hits more often with Shang Tsung than anyone else. The ninjas are the worst. Shang Tsung's the best.
Alrighty, we're going to take a quick break here, and we will be right back. Alright, we're back, and I'm Bill Springer, captain of the ship and host of the show. And I'm still here with Vincent Barry,
Sir Vance Locke,
conqueror of the galaxies. And before we left off, we were kind of bringing up the subject that a man, I'm not quite certain where he's from, probably from America, given that he has every single PS2 North America release in his possession. And what we had brought up earlier off the show is that what if he had like just one game left to put on the shelf and there was no space for it? It's like, he's just trying to cram that shit in there.
You can't get it in, and that is what she said.
But apparently he has a few shelves to hold all these games. He had gotten to a point where he had 400 games, and he realized that he had half of all the games that were released in America. So he figured, why not go all the way and waste my money on games that I probably will play once or for 15 minutes and then put down.
Or not even at all.
Exactly. I don't know what he was trying to accomplish. I mean,
and who wants to play a game about like glamour and dress up if you're a guy?
I mean, he probably just did it for status. I mean, he's probably like the king of all nerds right now, you know. Vinny, what was your collection like when you did? I'm talking about what was the most games you had for a system?
I'd say like about 25 Super Nintendo games.
25. Just name off a couple of them.
Let's see. I had Super Mario World, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
Isn't Super Mario World 2 kind of like a game that was kind of overlooked in the series of Mario?
I'd say it went a different way. Actually, I have an interesting story about it because everyone remembers the game Donkey Kong Country, which I never owned, but I have played, it's an awesome game.
Oh, definitely. Donkey Kong Country was so sweet.
Yep. What happened was they wanted, some of the people wanted them to use those graphics in Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, but Shigeru Miyamoto, I don't know how you pronounce his name, the guy who created Nintendo, did not like Donkey Kong Country too well.
No?
No, he was not a fan of it.
I mean, that game was pretty revolutionary for its time. It's like
yes, but
seemingly like the first 3D style.
Yeah.
I mean, the characters were very well designed and looked very realistic for its time.
And they submitted those ideas for the Yoshi's Island game, but since Miyamoto did not like the game very much, he decided, okay, we're going to go a completely different way. We're going to do crayon-drawn everything.
Oh, Yoshi's Story, was it called?
No, not Yoshi's Story. Yoshi's Island had the crayon drawings.
What was the game on, not Nintendo 64, but the GameCube?
The Yoshi's Story was on the 64.
It was on the 64.
And it did have the crayon drawings as well. The Yoshi series has been known for that now.
Was it the first time they introduced all the different colored Yoshis, or was that the first?
The different colored Yoshis have been around since the original Super Mario World.
Were all the same colors true in the between the games? All the colors of the
They
Yoshi?
added a lot more Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, but in that game they all function exactly the same. In Super Mario World, they ate a different, if they'd get certain powers if they ate a shell.
Yoshi's Story was the N64 one, right? I just want to get that right.
Yes.
And that's basically the Yoshi you see in Super Smash Brothers?
Yes.
Okay.
With the same sound
Jesus,
effects.
man. I think that's 3 episodes we've been talking about Super Smash Brothers.
Well, that's like one of the greatest Nintendo ideas I've created. I can't believe it took them all the way from Nintendo 64 to come up with it.
Alright, let's get back to this guy. Which game do you think he probably plays the most out of that collection? Or do you think he just looks at them? Do you think he just looks at them and not plays
He probably
any
has
of
a
them?
couple select games. I mean, there's a couple of really good... I mean, PS2 It's easily the best. I mean, it's the best-selling video game console of all time.
PS2, really?
Yes.
Wow, it beats out all the systems even today?
Yes.
I mean, it was PS2 was pretty revolutionary for its time. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
actually, it's the best-selling console. The best-selling system, period, is the Game Boy.
You'd think it'd be the Atari because there have been so many of them made.
But this is also back when video games started, because remember there was the video game crash of 1983.
Yeah, what in your opinion brought about that crash? Do you know any more about that?
Oh, well, let's see. It was because there was subpar development. People were not really getting into them quite like how it's a multi-million industry now. Back then, it wasn't quite like that.
Atari still exists, right? It's still the same,
Yeah.
or is it owned by another company?
I'm not sure about that. I have to look that up. But
Don't worry about it. Google it.
yeah, I know they still make video games, but they don't make consoles anymore. I mean, the last console they had was a lot of people liked it, but it was a major flop.
What was it, Atari Jaguar, right?
I mean, the
Correct?
Jaguar, yes.
I believe they had originally intended to come out with systems named after like feline mammals. Like they were going to come out with like other ones, like maybe I don't know. I'm not necessarily like
Yep.
the lion or the panther.
Yep, and you know
They
what?
were going to go with that.
And
as,
you know
like,
what?
theme.
All of the animal names, all of those animal names are now being used by the Macintosh operating system, OS X. All of the OSs have different animal names, like cheetah or leopard or all that fun shit.
Are you talking about Macintosh systems?
Yes, the operating system, not the computers themselves.
Did Apple and Macintosh have to split up like Windows and Microsoft did?
Well, they were always different things. Macintosh is the computer. Apple is the company.
I thought at one point that Windows and Microsoft were the same company, but they had to split
No.
because of some certain reasons.
Well, Microsoft was run well before Windows even started.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See,
you
I thought-
don't remember MS-DOS?
I see. I thought that MS or Microsoft and Windows were all part of the same entity, and because of because of legal reasons, they had to split.
Nope.
Become separate entities.
Windows was created by Microsoft.
Oh, okay.
Yep, Windows 1, which I never had the opportunity to ever try out because it's basically just a little extension at DOS. The graphics were pretty much DOS quality.
Alright, let's get back on the subject of the guy who owns every single PS2 game. If you had the financial ability and the patience, what system would you want every single game for? I'm not talking about North America releases. I'm talking about Japan, North America, Europe. I know that there were specific games made for each country.
Yeah.
Like there were some games released in Europe that weren't released in North America and not Japan. And there were
Most of
games
them were in
released,
Japan, obviously.
Yeah, the majority. I believe there was 2,000 games released in Japan for the PlayStation 2. This guy owns North American release specifically for the PlayStation 2, and it is approximately 800 games. Because he had stated that at 400 games, he was not intending to collect all the games, but at 400 games he realized he was halfway there, so he became addicted and wanted all the games.
He was halfway there, and whoa, he was living on a prayer.
So, what system would you want every single game for? Just out of nerdom.
Super Nintendo, my very first console.
You know, that's not a bad idea because there was a shitload of games that were released for the Super Nintendo that were very, very good. Specifically the Mario games. I mean, those games are just classic.
Yep, they're classics on every Nintendo system, except for the GameCube, had a very good Mario game.
What was that?
What, the GameCube one?
Yeah.
The GameCube one was Super Mario Sunshine.
A lot of people did not like that game.
Yeah, a lot of people were very turned off by that idea. Some people really liked it. I personally think that was the worst Mario, the worst regular Mario series game there was.
I tend to disagree. I believe Luigi's Mansion was the worst.
That was not a main Mario series game.
I believe it was.
No, it
Luigi
wasn't.
is a part of the Mario series.
But it was not a Super Mario Brothers style game. It was very...
No, but it was a Super Mario Brothers game.
Yeah, but so are
You
games
can't,
like...
you
but so are
can't, you
games-
can't
so are-
say brothers without
But-
Luigi, because
but-
Mario and Luigi are brothers.
Yeah, but you have to think... I mean, there's other games that are not really true Mario series games, like Mario is Missing or Mario's Time Machine.
Oh my god, those games are terrible.
Exactly. Luigi's
Who
Mansion...
the fuck wants to learn? Who wants to learn
Luigi's-
when you're playing a video game? I mean, Jesus
Oh, you can't
Christ.
say that too badly. Everyone loved Carmen Sandiego.
I mean, Carmen Sandiego was intriguing. You're catching bad guys.
And Mario's Missing tried to follow that kind of thing and
Let me ask
failed
you a question.
miserably.
Let me ask you a question. Did you ever catch Carmen Sandiego?
Yes, I did.
You did? I have never in my entire life.
You have to play for like 10 hours. You have to go through every ranking there is. And even when you're at the top rank, it still takes forever to get Carmen Sandiego.
Well, actually, I'm curious. What the fuck happens?
You get credits, the game ends, blah blah. It's nothing really big.
So it's a waste of time,
Yeah.
kind of like Oregon Trail.
Except the Oregon Trail.
Congratulations, you are a loser. You spent all this time for nothing.
Oh, by the way, here lies Billy. Billy died of beer overdose.
I did not die of beer overdose.
Yeah, you're right. He died of peeing.
I actually do have to take a pee, but the show must go on. The show must go on.
Yes, it really must.
So, Vinny, let's stick with the nerd talk, and let's talk about Angry Video Game Nerd.
Yep. If you're ever watching this out here, today is July 10th.
Yes, this is the day the episode will be released. This is, not Saturday anymore. We've started recording on Saturday, and it is now into Sunday. The episodes are released on Sunday, every single Sunday, regardless of how much sleep I get. This episode will be out. So from the Outer Space Freakshow, we would like to say, happy birthday, James Rolfe, Angry Video Game Nerd. You have brought me hours upon hours of entertainment. Your videos are amazing.
Yep, and you drink some really good Rolling Rock.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think he switched from the Rolling Rock to Yingling.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I also want to say, the Angry Video Game Nerd has released a video saying that he will not be regularly putting out Angry Video Game Nerd videos like he used to. It's probably going to be more like a bi-monthly thing, and the videos will be much shorter because he is in the process of making a feature-length Angry Video Game Nerd movie. He said it is in the very early stages of pre-production, and I'm fucking excited. It kind of gives me an idea, like it's going to be like Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
That was actually a very awesome movie.
Oh yeah, it was fucking brilliant.
And that movie came out before the Playhouse even existed.
Yeah. I think it's going to be kind of like that. It's going to be kind of like, you know how Pee-wee was just like, it was kind of like shorts like Angry Video Game Nerd. It was half-hour episodes of just wackiness. Video Game Nerd is half-hour wackiness. I think it's going to be along the same veins as that. It's going to be a guy who makes angry video game reviews, and then he leaves his house, and it's this whole other world that you've never experienced before. I think it's going to be along the same vein as that.
Maybe he'll have a local bully that steals his video games.
Yeah, and I've heard rumors that he's going to finally, in the movie, review the E.T. for Atari, which people consider to be the worst game to ever have been released because of the way the game is so shittily produced. I heard there is like a landfill full of those games, like above your head, like somebody.
You could be on the Mile High Club, like climbing all the way up there.
I know, seriously.
Yeah, bring your girlfriend with you. Go to the Mile High Club of E.T. video games.
What would you say is probably your favorite Angry Video Game Nerd episode? If you had to pick one, I know there's a lot of good ones, but in your brain, what would you watch again over and over?
Let's see, for Angry Video Game Nerd, I remember he reviewed the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles NES video game.
Oh, yeah. You know how pissed off I was at that video game way back in the day? He expressed every anger I ever had, because for a while, that was one of the video games that I hadn't beaten for a long time. I'd beaten all the other games that I had except for that one. You have to have extreme patience to beat the Ninja Turtles for Nintendo.
I can't believe that game was bought so much.
The game is fun. The game is fun and it's addictive. It's extremely hard, but they just loved it because of the Ninja Turtles and they want to get through it. I remember beating it when I was a kid. I honestly don't remember anything about the ending of it, but I remember I did stay up for days upon days upon days upon days just to beat that.
That makes perfect sense.
Leaving the system on overnight so you wouldn't lose anything. I don't believe there was a password system for it.
There was no password system, there was no battery backup.
And, I like the fact that he brought up the Rocksteady cheat, where you would use Donatello to hit down at the corner so you could just... Otherwise, I don't think there's a way to beat him.
Which does defy the laws of gravity where he's down lower and you hit him.
Yeah, I mean, Donatello was almost a cheater to use in that game. And you didn't want to use him first because if he's dead, you're pretty much screwed.
Same with Leonardo, the second strongest weapon wielder.
Yeah. My favorite Angry Video Game Nerd episode to this day is still the Friday the 13th review. Because Friday the 13th was, I mean, it was challenging. It was very challenging. When you're young, when I was young, I didn't quite understand what you had to do to beat the game. I just knew as soon as I heard beep, beep, oh my god, I gotta go save these fucking kids. And sometimes you'd be way across the map, and he'd be in the middle of the fucking ocean in those little lake houses and whatnot.
Wild freaky creature appeared.
Yeah, and he
throw a Friday the 13th ball at it.
And he would come out with a purple jumpsuit on every once in a while and scare the crap out of you. Like, literally, shit would be running down your leg. That's probably... I mean, that review was probably the first time I seen real cinematic editing and acting. I believe that was the first time that Motherfucker Mike was... using episode. No, actually, I think it was the Roger Rabbit one where Motherfucker Mike was first debuted. But Motherfucker Mike played Jason. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was him. But anyways, that video was. I mean, I still watch it just about once every other couple months, just because it's so cool. Is there any other Angry Video Game Nerd videos that stick out to you that you enjoyed?
He did do the one about those computer graphic release Zelda games that were completely lame.
Oh, for the Nintendo or the 3DO or whatever?
Yeah, something like that. I didn't forget what the system was. I never had it. I never intend to have it.
Yeah. So let's see here. What were the highest grossing video games per console? Let's start with Nintendo.
Alright. Very first on the list would be Super Mario Brothers, obviously, for two reasons. One, it was a great game, and two, it was bundled with every console.
You know, and I still think that people are going out there buying Nintendo just specifically to play that game and try speedruns.
Even though if you have a Nintendo Wii, you can download it for $5 on Virtual Console.
I know, but isn't the gameplay slightly different, or is it exact copy?
It's exact copy. The only difference is that you use the Wii Remote instead of a Nintendo controller. And you know what? The Wii Remote, when you hold it on its side, is practically a Nintendo controller.
It's a little bulkier, and it's a little different.
But for the most part, it's like the same, and it's actually easier to use that than the Nintendo controller.
I would disagree with that. The Nintendo controller was very accessible. I mean, there was, 4 buttons on it?
There was A, B, start, select, and the directional pads.
Yeah, so 5, it's a 5 button, well, if you add the directional pad, there's more than that, but there were 4 buttons, mainly, and... You know what? We got by. Those 4 buttons, they did a lot for us back in the day.
Yep, and then eventually they added the X and the Y and the L and the R.
Yeah, for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah. And then they got rid of some for the 64.
What is the second on that list there?
Super Mario Brothers 3, another Mario game, and easily one of my favorite Mario games of all time. Because, well, what can we say? We love to be able to fly in the air with a little raccoon tail.
Talking about Super Mario Brothers 3?
Hell motherfucking yeah!
Alright, I'm going to stop you there for a second. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and wrap things up. So See you in a second. Alright, we're back. I had to take a space urination break.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier. He had to let it out.
And the problem with taking his piss in space is it goes up. It just floats in the air. You know, there's no gravity.
Yeah, we're
out
sitting
here.
down with no problem.
You know, and then sometimes that's just what you gotta do.
Yeah, we have our anti-gravity boots on. If you ever seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you'll remember the episode where the Turtles had to wear those things.
Yeah.
When the villains had their anti-gravitational device.
So we're gonna run through this quickly. Vinny, what are the number 1 and number 2 games for Super Nintendo?
Let's see, number 1, which came with the system, Super Mario World.
And do you think that's true with most best-selling games, is that they were bundled with the system?
A lot of them, that is the case, because, I mean, how can you, if it comes with a system, it kind of has to.
Quickly say what was number 2, because I want to move on to Nintendo 64.
Alright, we got Donkey Kong Country.
Which you explained that the creator of Nintendo didn't like, right?
Yep, which is why he decided to have the crayon drawing animations for the Yoshi series. And they
which a lot of people didn't like, and a lot of people did like.
It's
kind of a half and half thing.
It ended up being a very popular game. It was towards the twilight of the Super Nintendo with Yoshi's Island, and Donkey Kong Country was actually, for that matter.
Yeah, it was towards the end.
Yep.
They managed to bust out 3 Donkey Kong games for the Super Nintendo before it closed out.
Yeah.
And you know, they use the same animation, so they probably didn't change the mechanics of the gaming. They use the same what do they call it? The same format.
The only difference is that the main character changes in each game.
Yeah, but basically it was the same deal, right?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't really change much per Donkey Kong game. Which they didn't really have to, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, obviously the first one is the most revolutionary for obvious reasons.
Yeah, because it was so cool. I mean, this is the first wasn't it the first 3D Nintendo character game?
For character game, yes. Because for a second I thought, before you said character, I thought you were going to say Star Fox.
Well, Star Fox is a Nintendo character, right? So Star Fox 64 would have been the first 3D Nintendo.
No, the original Star Fox.
The original Star Fox was 3D?
It used the FX chip. The R-Wings are kind of like in that
Was
3D.
that for the Super Nintendo or the Nintendo?
Super Nintendo.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the Nintendo Star Fox.
Super Nintendo had the first one.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
yeah, Nintendo did not have any kind of 3D whatsoever. I mean, come on, it's an 8-bit console. How are you going to get 3D?
Alright, I'm stupid.
It's okay.
Alright, let's move on to Super Nintendo. The reason why I'm asking...
We're on Super Nintendo.
Nintendo 64. The reason why I'm asking, because I'm wondering where 007 is on there, GoldenEye.
It is number 3.
Number 3. That makes a shitload of sense, because you know what? There are still people doing tournaments with that game.
And you know what? They have every reason to. That game was fucking awesome. It got a lot of people into first-person shooting. At least in the video game console world, I mean, a lot of people were playing like...
And the functionality of it was so smooth. It was so smooth. And the maps were epic.
Yes, and even the single-player game was epic.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I had probably spent days upon days upon days weeks playing that same game.
It took me, not 15 years, but it took me 10 years to beat every mission on 00 Agent.
Oh, the highest, difficulty?
Let's see, they spammed the fucking shit out of you in some of those late levels.
So what did better than that?
Let's see, we got Mario Kart 64 number 2.
Oh, I love that game. I tell you what, Wario Stadium, come try it. I dare you, come try it. I'll whoop your ass all day.
And the top seller, which was bundled at the beginning, but not for the entire run, Super Mario 64.
So I'm going to guess here, if you scroll down to Sega Genesis, Sonic the Hedgehog will probably be number 1. If we are sticking to the same format here, where the number 1 game is...
This one actually shows the difference between packing them separately. It says that 15 million copies of Sonic the Hedgehog were packed in with the Genesis, and there were 4 million separately.
So what's that, number 1?
That was number 1, and right behind that would be Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
which is my favorite Sonic game out of the series.
Yeah, I think it was the most challenging.
Metropolis Zone, greatest zone of all time. Right behind that, the scrap brain of the original.
But I will say this, Sonic Unleashed, I think that's what it was called, where he turns into a werewolf. That was the worst one. Worst ever.
Yep. Alright.
So let's what's number 2? Or Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and then it goes 007? Or no, what's
007 was on 64. We already got out of 64 mode.
So what's number 3 on the list?
Aladdin.
Aladdin?
Yeah.
You know what? I played that game and I beat it, and it's a fun game. It kind of reminded me a little of Mario because you would jump on the enemy's head to kill him, right?
You would jump on enemies' heads, but he was a little more robust and athletic than Mario ever could be because he actually grabs on platforms and
swings around.
Pulls himself up, swings around.
Kind of reminded me of Darkwing Duck, how that game was.
Oh my god! And you know what? I actually grew up watching that TV show.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great show. So was DuckTales. I'm not taking anything away from that show either.
When there's trouble, you call DW.
And DuckTales, that is the catchiest cartoon theme song of all time.
Woo!
Yep. The danger lurks behind you. There's a stranger out to find you.
Alright, you got PlayStation on there?
PlayStation, we are going to...
I'm going to guess that Final Fantasy VII is going to be right up there on the list.
Very close. It's number 2.
Right. See, Final Fantasy VII is probably my favorite RPG ever. Ever. That game was so involved, so in-depth.
It's my second favorite RPG. Actually, it's actually down to 3 for me.
Oh, well, what's your first 2?
My first 2, number 1, Chrono Trigger on the Super Nintendo.
Another amazing RPG.
Yep, when I finally made this guy play it.
He did make me play it, and I am so fucking glad I did.
Yep.
You know, I skipped over it for a while, and then he told me about it, and then I found out that Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball Z, was the artist for it, so that just amplified the want to play it
and
so
you know
much.
what? Unlike Final Fantasy, it involves a lot of time travel. I mean, there's Chrono right in the name, so it kind of has to, but...
Well, it doesn't do time travel, but they do go back to the past and tell you a lot of things in Final Fantasy
They do, but there's no actual, like, time traveling involved. I mean, like, there's... In Chrono Trigger, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... Actually, 7 different time periods you have to travel through.
And one thing I want to say about Final Fantasy VII is that a lot of people say that when Aerith or Eris, or however you want to say it, I know there's different interpretations of the name, a lot of people said they cried, literally cried when she died.
This girl I met back in college, I had her play through the game. Oh my god, she was bawling her fucking eyes out.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very emotional game. You get so involved with these characters because you're spending days playing as these characters, getting to know them and loving them, and all of a sudden, boom, Sephiroth's an asshole. You know?
Yep, and let's see, number 1 on the PlayStation. I never actually played this game because I never owned a PlayStation 1. Gran Turismo.
I could see that because Gran Turismo is probably the most revolutionary racing game for consoles. I know there are PC games out there that totally blow them out of the water, like iRacing. I know that people do tournaments and stuff on that, and it's supposed to be like the most in-depth racing system you can use. I would actually, for this conversation, I wish Brandon was here from Brandon Snow's Car Talk because Brandon plays all the online simulation games. He
loves cars.
He pays money for the accounts and actually races professionally online. He does tournaments that does generate real life money from these contests, like a few $1,000s for each one. I'm not sure how many of these contests he's won, but I know he has won some sort of money from these contests. What's number 2? Or no, number 2 was Final Fantasy VII.
Number 3 was Gran Turismo 2.
Really? That really does make sense because those games are really damn fun. What's number 4? Just
Final Fantasy VIII.
Final Fantasy VIII,
which I was not very happy with.
I think it's the worst one. I mean, it was so confusing and so different from any Final Fantasy game that it just took me right out of it.
In my opinion, I do not like the Nintendo Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3, because I like active time.
Final Fantasy 1 kind of reminded me of Zelda in a way.
But it was still a turn-based RPG.
Just a little bit, but I like Final Fantasy 1.
I
I
didn't
haven't
like
played all
the-
the way through it, but it is interesting.
I didn't like the lack of a real story in Final Fantasy 1 because, I mean, your character was...
Well, if you want a story, you got to talk to every single villager in town to find out what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, starting with Final Fantasy 4, which was released as 2 on the Super Nintendo, you actually get a really in-depth story. It's the very first one with a lot of depth in it.
You know, Final Fantasy 1 was supposed to be like the swan song of the creator. It was supposed to be the last thing he ever did, but it was so fucking successful that he ended up making a shitload more Final Fantasy games. That was kind of like a blessing in disguise. His last thing was going to be the biggest thing ever, and he had no idea.
Which brings me to my number 2 favorite RPG game of all time, Final Fantasy X.
Final Fantasy X? What was your number 1 again? Chrono Trigger?
Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy X,
And then Final Fantasy VII?
yes. And right behind that, surprisingly enough, Super Mario RPG.
You would put that over the Pokemon games?
Oh my god, he just made me remember that.
And where would Pokemon fit in that list now that you remembered?
Alright, Pokemon is a whole series. I'll play any of the main series games. I'll put that right in front of Super Mario RPG.
Would you? So that'd be number 4 on your list?
Yes.
You talking about red and green, red and blue? Red,
I'm
green,
talking
blue?
about the whole series.
The whole series as a whole?
Yes.
It goes over any other game past 4 down?
Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
See, I would tend to agree because those games are very involved. They put you right into it. I mean, you feel like you are
Yep.
that Pokemon trainer.
And I am positive that Pokemon was the best-selling Game Boy game.
oh yeah,
I don't even have to look. I know that.
by fathoms.
Yeah,
You know,
not so much on the later portable consoles, but on the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color, bestsellers.
All right, we are going to be wrapping things up, but before we do, I just wanted to ask you, favorite Pokemon all time?
My favorite Pokemon of all time. Oh my god, I'm trying to think out back.
All right, well, while Vince is thinking about that, I will put it right out there that my favorite Pokemon all time, Gyarados.
Yes, and I agree. Gyarados is a great Pokemon.
And I know you mentioned last week that you think that Gyarados should be should be one of the Pokeball characters in Super Smash Brothers.
Yes, and I'm very disappointed
The only
that
time-
in 3 games it isn't.
Gyarados does make an appearance, but he's a float in the Pokemon float stage.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean jack diddly shit.
Nope.
In that Pokefloat stage, which is Melee.
I'd like to see Gyarados pop out of the Pokeball, Dragon Rage.
Yep.
Even though he's an official Dragon Pokemon, is he?
He is water/flying.
Which is weird because you would think that Gyarados would be a Dragon type Pokemon.
I actually think the reason why they did that was so that he was not completely unfair to use.
I mean, because during Pokemon 1, Gyarados is kind of an unfair Pokemon because he has so many great attacks.
Yep. Yep. In later games, he gets the ability to intimidate people and all that fun stuff.
Yeah,
he's
just
still
right off the bat, dude.
even in the 5th generation, he is still a powerhouse.
Oh, definitely.
Yep. He's very commonly used in online competitive battling, which is now very easily doable with Wi-Fi. Yep.
So, we're going to wrap things up right now.
And before we forget, my favorite Pokemon of all time would have to be Salamence of the 3rd generation. It is a dragon.
It is a dragon type Pokemon.
Yes.
And if you were going into a tournament, you would definitely have that towards the lead of your pack.
Oh, yes.
Well, let's just...
Even though it's considered an Uber in the online Pokemon battling world, so a lot of people would actually forbid you from using Salamence.
Well, I say that's bullshit because, you know what? You get 6 Pokemon, pick whatever 6 Pokemon you want, and if some faggot kid out there is like,
You know what? They consider that little wobbly ball that Jesse used to have, Wobbuffet, they consider that an Uber as well.
get over it, people. If you can't combat that, get out of here. You lose. Stop whining. Stop your fucking whining. Alright, Vinny, what is your top 6? We'll end this with this. What is your top 6? What would you bring into a tournament battle?
I would bring Salamence. I would bring Starmie. I would bring... Oh my god, I've lost my mind. I know I like Starmie. I know I like Salamence. I know I like my Jolteon.
Jolteon is the fastest Pokemon there is, right?
No.
Who was the fastest Pokemon?
That would be Deoxys in speed form.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Are all legendary Pokemons frowned upon being used in tournament battle online?
Some of them.
Some of them.
Some of them they don't really give a crap about because
like say if I wanted to battle with 100 level YouTube or Mewtwo.
Mewtwo is forbidden still.
It's not forbidden.
Yes.
You can use it, but people don't like it because they're fucking whiny.
Yeah, but there are better things than Mewtwo now than there. Back in the day, Mewtwo was the king of kings, and now the king of kings is Arceus.
Arceus, people hate you when you use that.
Well, let's see. It has higher stats than any other Pokemon, and it is considered, in story, the creator of the universe.
Alright, people. We're going to break off here, and we're going to leave you until next week. I am Bill Springer, captain of the ship and host of the show, and this is Vince Barry, conqueror of galaxies.
And you know what about the Outer Space Freak Show? Gotta watch them all.
Yeah, gotta watch them all. And if you don't, I will find you, and I will eat you. We eat humans on our planet. The planet Go Fuck Yourself. That's where I'm from.
You eat people?
Now you know. I eat people, yeah.
Why do you eat boys?
Why
do you want to eat a guy?
I'm like from Omicron Persei 8. I devour humans.
Or you're like the Donner Party.
The Donner Party?
From the Oregon Trail days.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the
The ones that ended up stranded over on their way into California, and they ended up having to eat each other to survive.
I thought you were talking about the Dahmer Party, which does about the same thing.
I was talking about the Donner Party. I remember. I think we went through that in school back in the day.
Possibly. I saw a documentary on that shit on History Channel. I know what you're talking about. They went traveling and they ended up eating their family and the people they were traveling with, right?
Yeah, they ended up snowbound and all that other fun shit.
Yeah, they got trapped in an area where they were told not to walk through. Or something like that. They were told to take one path and they ended up taking another path.
And then they are also late in getting there. It was the middle of the winter.
Yeah, I heard about that. But yeah, we're going to leave with cannibalism. Peace.
1,000? There's no way that could be right.